Okay, welcome to lesson 8 of numbers in operation, dividing whole numbers. Here's our objective, our vocabulary. Now, this vocabulary is a little specific, so let me be clear. It does make a difference of which number is doing the dividing when division. You can't mix up the numbers. The dividend is the number being divided. The divisor is the one doing the work. The divisor goes into the dividend, and the quotient is the answer. Our notes, some examples, some picture example, how it should look with the house. And in a fraction, the dividend is on top and the divisor on the bottom. Okay, so let's look at our first example, dividing by a one-digit number. So now, 34 is the dividend divided by 4, which is the divisor. So we're going to change up how this looks. We're going to put the 4 on the outside, divide it by 34, and this is how we're actually going to solve the problem. Okay, so 34 divided by 4. So how do you work division? You say, you need your multiplication chart to say how many times does 4 go into 3 as a whole number. Well, if you look on your multiplication chart, you'll see, if you go across the 4s, you'll see 1, then 4. So it doesn't go in. So now we go to the next number. You leave this number blank, and you go to the next number. Well, how many times does 4 go into 34? And now what you had to do is count. 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 4, 4 times 4, so on and so forth. And then we get to 32 on our multiplication chart. And we see that 8 times 4 is 32. We have a number smaller, an answer smaller than 4. 34 minus 32 is 2. And now the answer is 8. Our quotient is 8 with a remainder of 2. And we're going to finish this off when we get to division. But for now, you're going to leave your numbers as and whole numbers with a remainder. So everything is a whole number right now. Okay, dividing by a two-digit number. Now, it's hard putting fractions on a computer when I did these slides. So this would be 341 over 17. And how do we change this? Well, the number at the bottom goes on outside the house, and the number on top goes inside the house. And I'll pick it up on the next slide. So 17 goes into 341. Okay, so what we can see is 17. How many 17s do we have? 1 times 17 is 17. 2 times 17 is actually 34. So 2 times 17 is 34. Then we subtract, because subtraction is actually taking away equal sets of numbers. So, if you break 341 down into even pieces, you should get a 0. Then you bring down your 1. 17 does not go into 1, so we write a 0 here, and that will be our remainder. 20 with a remainder of 1. So if you take 17 pieces of 341, you will get 20 whole pieces and a fraction of one more piece. And we'll explain that a little bit more when we get to division. And our third example, so I was able to put this one up. So how do we do this? The number in the bottom, the denominator, goes outside the house, and the number on top goes inside the house. And we'll pick this up on the next slide. 65, 73, going into 44, 8, 974. Now, these numbers look very large and it seems confusing, but it's actually not that confusing. What you're actually going to have to do is take a guess. And just guess at the first numbers. 6 into 4 or 44. So we know that 6 does not go into 4 evenly and gives us a whole number out. So we're going to have to do 6 into 42. 6 times 7 is 42. And while that's less than 44, we're going to have to try. So I'm going to start with 7 and see if it works. So 6573 will not go into 4489. So we're going to start our 7 here. And if it goes over, we're going to have to start over again. So with division, with large numbers, you're going to have to guess and check. 7 times 3 is 1. Carry the 2. 7 times 7 is 49 plus 2, which is 51. Bring down a 1, carry the 5. 7 times 5 is 35. Plus 5 is 40. And it's very important to keep your numbers lined up. Carrying a 4. 7 times 6 is 42 plus 4 is 46. This number is bigger than this number. So 7 does not work. The number is too big. So what you're going to have to do is start again with a smaller number. And sometimes with division, with dividing large numbers into other larger numbers, you might have to try a couple of times, and it's okay. So we had to start our 6 over top the 7 because 6573 is bigger than 4,489. So 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 7 is 42 plus 1 is 43. 6 times 5 is 30 plus 1 is 31. 6 times 6 is 36 plus 3 is 39. And now when we go to subtract, after you subtract, the number you come up with must be bigger than your divisor. It must be bigger. It must be smaller than your divisor. It cannot be bigger than your divisor, or else you'll have to add up a number. So 7 minus 8 we can't do, so we're going to borrow. 17 minus 8 is 9. 8 minus 3 is 5. That becomes a 7. We can't take 4 from 9, so we borrow from the first 4. 14 minus 5. 5759 is smaller than 6573. That's good. So now we bring down our 4. And 6 times 9 is 54. So let's see what we come up with. So we're going to try let's try 9 in here and see if that works. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 times 7 is 63. Plus 2 is 65. 9 times 6 is 54. Plus 6 is 60. 6. 9 times 6 is 54. Plus 6 is 60. That's too much. So 9 does not work. So now we're going to have to erase. And we're going to have to go back down to 8. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 7 is 56 plus 2 is 58. 8 times 5 is 40 plus 5 is 45. Bring the 4. 8 times 6 is 48 plus 4 is 52. 48 plus 4 is 52. Subtract again. 5,010 is smaller than 6573. So if you divide 448,974 by 6,573, you will come up with 68 even pieces and some left over. And that's how division works. So we are actually going to into your problems. These are your problems. Okay, first problem. Set it up in the house form. So 434 is our final answer, and we have 3 left over, so we write 434 with a remainder of 3. For our next problem, 11 is the divisor. It goes outside the house, 4389. So 11 goes into 43. Can't go into 4. It has to go into 43 3 times. We got 33. We subtract. We get 10. 10 is smaller than 11, so that's good. Now we go to 8 and 9. 9 times 11 is 99. Subtracting. 18 minus 9 is 9. 9 minus 9 is 0. Bringing down our 9. 9 times 11 is 99. Look at that. We actually got 0. So the answer, the quotient, is 399. There you go. And for our final problem, so 238 is under the fraction, so the way to write this out fractionally, it should look like this. 238 is at the denominator or our bottom. 4567. 238 only goes once in a 456. Subtracting, we get 4. 16 minus 8 is 8. 4 minus 3 is 1. 4 minus 2 is 2. Bring it down to 7. 2000 is roughly 10 times, so I'll go under 9. 9 times 8 is 72. 9 times 3 is 27. Plus 7 is 34. 9 times 2 is 18. Plus 3 is 21. Wow, look how close we got. Subtracting, we get 5 and 4. So our answer, or our quotient, is 19 with a remainder of 45.